Uncrewed aircraft systems, referred to as UAS, operate in the airspaces shared by all aircraft. So UAS are subject to the rules of the governing aviation authorities. This means the deployments of the small UAS operated by the Mobile Uncrewed Systems for Atmospheric Science, MUSAS, are conducted according to the published aircraft and airspace regulations. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, regulates the national airspace system in the United States. For operations outside the national airspace system, the International Civil Aviation Organization, also referred to as ICAO, helps countries to cooperate and share their airspace. Currently, ICAO is comprised of 193 countries. The FAA provides air traffic control in international airspace assigned by ICAO. The figure illustrates how airspace is segregated in the national airspace system. For air traffic management, the different airspace classes are designed to help keep aircraft separated according to their physical characteristics and performance. The most important point is to note that all airspace is regulated, but not all airspace is controlled. For the current discussion, it is enough to know that the airspace classes lettered as A through E are controlled airspace. Class G airspace is uncontrolled and is the most directly accessible for small UAS flying according to the Code of Federal Regulations, Chapter 1, Subchapter F, Part 107, or simply Part 107. To fly under Part 107, the UAS must weigh less than 55 pounds, and the operator, called a remote pilot, must pass a knowledge test. Also, the UAS must be registered. Part 107 enables the vast majority of routine small UAS operations, allowing flights within visual line of sight, also referred to as VLOS, VLOS, while maintaining flexibility to accommodate future technological innovations. Part 107 allows small UAS operations for many different purposes without requiring airworthiness certification, exemptions, or a certificate of waiver or authorization, also called a COA, for access to Class G airspace. Part 107 includes the opportunity for individuals to request waivers for certain provisions of the rules. Waivers enable operations outside the standard Part 107 rule, with provisions specified by FAA to ensure acceptable operational safety. The dashed line in the diagram highlights the 400-foot ceiling for small UAS operations in Class G. Small UAS flights outside the Part 107 rule, such as flights above 400 feet or in controlled airspace, classes A through E, require an exemption, a waiver, or a COA. Any proponent can apply to FAA for an exemption or waiver to Part 107. However, a COA can only be issued to a public operator, such as a government agency. As a state university, CU Boulder is categorized as a government agency. Therefore, our research group in the Research and Engineering Center for Uncrewed Vehicles, RECOV, and the Integrated Remote and In-Situ Sensing Program, IRISS, maintains COAs that are available for MUSAS operations with requirements that reasonably exceed the limits imposed by Part 107. IRISS currently maintains 24 COAs that cover more than 500,000 square miles across 11 states in the Great Plains. Additional IRISS COAs are located on the Wisconsin and Michigan shorelines of Lake Michigan. One is in the Chicago metropolitan area. COAs are maintained along the Gulf Coast south of Houston, on the slopes of Mauna Loa on the Big Island of Hawaii, and at Aliktok Point on the north slope of Alaska. IRISS aircraft have also flown along and off the coast of Barbados and over the Arctic Ocean near the North Pole. Some of our MUSAS personnel were involved in maintaining some of the first COAs issued for small UAS operations back in 2008. The COAs give us capabilities for operations that aren't available to others who are operating under Part 107. COAs were developed based on our assurance to the FAA that we can conduct safe operations without endangering other aircraft or endangering people on the ground. And that is how we were granted the COAs to do the operations in environments that otherwise would be inaccessible.